Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of Bleachers and Beyond. Today I am joined by the one, the only wrestling, I want to call you the father of wrestling content here, SantiZap. I mean, I see you everywhere. Everywhere I look wrestling, you're there. I see you on Raw. I've seen you on like the Instagram compilations. I think, didn't The Rock have you on his story once?
At one point when everyone hated The Rock because he took Cody's spot, he used a clip of me being positive about him, which was great. Okay, cool. I'm on the 5th biggest Instagram on the planet, but then everybody hated me because all of a sudden I was defending The Rock. So I was like, God damn it, Rock. Nonetheless, you're right. I am everywhere.
That's a good thing, though. It's a very good thing. Like how you are into wrestling, you are into NFL, correct?
Big time. Yeah, I've been watching the NFL for a very, very long time. I just never dabbled into the content creation side of the NFL, but played football throughout my entire high school career, played 1 year collegiate, but like I've always been watching my whole life.
So you live in Canada. Are you from Canada?
Yeah, well, kind of. I was born in Colombia, and then I immigrated to Canada when I was 7 years old.
Okay, so how did you land as a Chargers fan?
So when I got into football, which was like around 2005, when my friends started to talk about the NFL and talk about NHL, things like that, 2005, that puts me at around 11, 12 years old. I wanted to get into the sport, and I initially got into it because we went from playing Halo to Madden. Our buddy got Madden. So then, all right, well, I got to learn how to play American football. I got to learn what a quarterback is. And then I started slowly getting into it. But then I wanted to pick a team that was good because I was a kid. I was like, I don't want to root for a bad team initially. So I looked around. I was like, okay, close to me is the Detroit Lions. They were terrible in the 2000s. The Bills were also terrible in the 2000s. So I ended up picking the team that sounded the closest to my name, Santiago, San Diego. So as a kid, I'm like, that makes sense to me. And then they had like LaDainian Tomlinson, they had Antonio Gates. They were just off the back of losing Breeze, getting Rivers. So I was like, that's a good team. As a kid, San Diego, Santiago, I think that's hilarious. And I've been a fan for the past 20 years.
I mean, it's a little bit different. I didn't do anything with my name, and I know that the people have heard this a million times who watch me, but I got into the Bills because I didn't watch ball until 2014. And when I did, whenever I would play Madden, I would always just use Buffalo because I like the colors. So, it's kind of like we both made a painful choice at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, we did. I remember when they moved to Los Angeles, I was like, do I support them? Like the whole reason I was a San Diego fan, I ended up sticking with them. I dabbled with the possibility of like, oh, maybe like the Cardinals. That's kind of a cool team that no one hates Cardinals fans, like they're just sort of there. So I was like, maybe I'll root for the Cardinals. But I was like, no, I can't betray the Chargers. I stuck it out even with the name change.
You did have an out though. I mean,
it was there. It was a fair out because I've always been transparent. It's because of my name. That's how I got into it. Once you moved to LA, you gave me the off ramp. Unfortunately, I stuck, and now I'm a fan of one of the most miserable franchises in the NFL.
But now, if they ever do go and win it all, and you're celebrating, which I hope they do. I hope Harbaugh and I hope Herbert gets it, and you're celebrating. If you ever get called a bandwagon, I will be the first one there. I'll be the first one. I'll be there having your back.
I've been through all of the pain and suffering. I still have not washed the pain and anger of the 27-0 debacle against the Jaguars. I still have not washed the debacle of losing in like the first matchup of the playoffs when we were 14-2 and immediately firing our coach after that loss. Like, dude, it's been a painful time being a Chargers fan, but I stick it out, man. I stick it out, and it's not going to change.
That's how sports needs to be. In terms of the Chargers, what are your expectations this year? Realistically,
they're good. I look at what we have with the Chargers, and aside, of course, from like the huge loss of Rashawn Slater, like our team just got better. Now, we didn't add a Saquon Barkley, we didn't get like leagues better, but we got better. And people for some reason seem to forget that we won 11 games last season. It's like that this has gone over people's heads that we had a new head coach. We won 11 games. Now we have a coach that understands our players and our system significantly more, understands the division a lot more. I think 11-12 is very realistic for what we have here from the Chargers, but people don't see that out of the Chargers. They think it's a 8-win team, but like, no, like, look at what we have. We built something pretty cool over here.
I agree with that. I don't see them getting under double digits. And the thing that, it kind of locks me and cements me into is, like you said, you did make, there are little improvements there, and including the running game, which maybe won't be. I don't know. I think it will be. But, as of now, it's kind of a question mark. But, the little improvements you have. But I think one of the biggest factors that matters there, and honestly, is the fact that your coach is a guy that truly knows how to get the best out of his players, and they rally behind him. I mean, when you're going out there playing for Anthony Lynn or Brandon Staley, you don't, what
you don't want to be there. Like, no. You saw what happened, like when it was a couple seasons ago when the Chargers just kind of threw up their hands and purposely let themselves get blown out by the Raiders by like 60 points. That was a message directly to the franchise. Like, this is not our coach. This is not a guy that we're willing to go to war for. The Chargers have been such a fascinating franchise because when you look at their history, man, they've always had the talent. They just have never had the culture. They've never had a culture of winning. And that, to me, great football minds there for sure with Harbaugh, but that's, to me, not even the biggest X factor that he brings. He brings in a culture. He brings in a culture of like wanting to play for this guy, wanting to win, being proud of playing for this team. And we've never had that. Legitimately have never had that. Even in the heyday of our best years, we have never had a culture.
And it goes deep into the fans with that too. I mean, because for the longest time up until even this year, I still, Charger fans, as good as I think you guys are, and as much as I think you guys can talk, I don't hear much from you guys. And I think that's it's starting to evolve a little bit, and just to more of like the social aspect of Charger fans enjoying, I think, football more and wanting to engage in the sport rather than, kind of, I'm a Chargers fan, I'm not going to say anything because I'm just going to get yelled at.
Exactly. 100%, man. I'm with you there.
As good as Justin Herbert is, and we know that. I mean, I know that. I think, one of the best pure passers in the league. Does his playoff record bother you? Does his playoff performances bother you? Does it scare you?
They don't scare me. The playoff performances, when I look at like especially the 27-0 loss, I will never put that on the players. When you are up 27-0 at half and you lose, that is a coaching loss. 1,000,000%. That is a coaching loss from head to toe. Right? The players, sure, you can point some fingers here or there, but when you are in that position, when the players have steered you in the direction of having that much of a lead and you fumble it, that's not a player loss. That is a lack of culture that starts from the top with your coaching staff. I'm overall really not that concerned. When I look at our loss last season to the Texans and I look at who Herbert was throwing to, there's just not much there. You have a Quentin Johnson that forgets he's a wide receiver, forgets that he was actually nasty at TCU, but then forgot. I don't know. I think that man needs a sports psychologist to remind him, like, you can catch, you know how to catch. We were thrown to like Will Dissly, who would like he would catch, like it would be a perfect throw to his hands and he'd fumble it up in the air into a pick six. Justin Herbert hasn't had the greatest weapons out there. And when he has had solid weapons, like when he had Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, he's surrounded by idiots in the coaching staff and, first 2 years in the league. I really believe that Herbert under Harbaugh is going to be a scary threat in the playoffs as he matures and as the team grows around him.
No, and that's what I want to see out of him more than anything. And I'm not giving into the narratives yet. I do when I talk about it. It's like, well, people do have the right to be skeptical on it, but saying that he's not a good quarterback is, for one thing, completely outlandish. But for two, if you're going to be starting a team you're starting a team going into the league and you have a choice at a quarterback, there's no way he's not in your top 10. Like you're going to take Justin Herbert in there, one of the first 10 quarterbacks that go, because people know naturally just how good the guy is. You can't just take his two pretty bad postseason performances and pretty much throw it over everything else he's done in his career. Like last year, where what did he have? 3 interceptions on the whole year or something like that?
Yeah, he was darn near perfect throughout the season. But, you know, and I don't blame people, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the dance, it is about how you perform in the dance in the playoffs, and the performances have not been there. But it's certain. I don't think that we're looking at like a Tracy McGrady in the NBA, like who just couldn't do anything and get past get past the second round, even though he was one of the most elite players. I don't think we're gonna get to that situation. But I get the skepticism, I get the criticism, but when I look at context, when you really lay it out, it's playoff losses that neither of them would I put on Justin Herbert.
Is the first one or the second one where he had the 3 interceptions?
The last year was all the interceptions. He had like more interceptions in that game than he had all season.
Yeah, and then it was the Jags is the one that they blew
That's the 27-0.
Okay, we got that. I you know, foolishly, as much as I do have Herbert's back, this year would be the one that I would throw on him a little bit more than anything. But again, it's not going to define him as a player, at least not even close to that yet for me. And staying on the topic here of Herbert and kind of going into a little bit of wrestling here, who is the Justin Herbert of the WWE?
Oh, that's a hilarious question. Okay. The Justin Herbert of the WWE. So I'm thinking main eventer. You know, I'm not thinking mid card, lower card, or anything like that. I am thinking somebody that is in the main event but hasn't won the big one or really been pushed to be the guy. And I know that they're kind of polar opposites because Justin Herbert is so reserved.
I know who you're going to say.
When I look at the booking of LA Knight,
there it is.
I think Justin Herbert, LA Knight, he's got the talent, he's got the ability, but like they just won't let him get to the dance. I think it's a very, very similar outlook when you try to make those comparisons.
That's very. As soon as you started describing, I started to figure out who you were going to say. You know, and I know that this guy's won a world title. I would say Jey Uso though, because for the longest time he just kept losing when he got there. And I know this guy has also won a world title, but I gotta say, Finn Balor, man.
Oh, that's a great one. That's such a great one, man.
They won't. Every time they build him up, you're like, this is gonna be it. This is gonna be it. And no, it's like, come on. It wasn't his fault that he got hurt. Well, maybe a little bit, but his first title run, I mean, that just kind of ruined it.
You know what I'll say? What I'll say is I say that Chargers fans are just like Finn Balor fans. We remember the heyday. We remember the good old days. We're like, oh, what could have been? But then we look at what's going now and how we haven't been able to get over the hump, get to the top of the mountain. I feel Finn Balor fans in my heart, and they're very similar to what we've gone through as Chargers fans.
It's a sad ordeal for both worlds there. And I'm wondering how much Finn sits there and thinks about it too. Just like he's got to sometimes, like, you know, if I never got hurt, because he was on fire. It was nuclear stuff there, and in a good way. Transferring on to the next topic here. This is a thing that's been popular with my past guests who have been on here. It's versus the world, where I'm going to be asking you a series of quarterbacks versus your quarterback, Justin Herbert. And you're just going to have to give me a quick explanation on who you would take. So does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. So starting off, we got Herbert or Jalen Hurts.
Oh my goodness. I would prefer, I get it, Super Bowl, but that was an incredible team from head to toe. I would take Justin Herbert.
I can't agree on that one. I think Herbert's a better passer, but
look,
I
believe that if you were to place Herbert in the position that Hurts was in, with that insane talent that he had around him, an elite defense that was constantly giving the Eagles amazing field position, the best running back in the league. If you put like 3/4 of NFL quarterbacks in what the Eagles had last season, they're winning the damn Super Bowl.
That's okay. You have your argument there, and I mean, it's not like that was an insane off. I think with Jalen's playoff success, and
the playoff success is 1,000,000% there, but playoff success, and it's a team sport, man, and they've got an incredible team, an incredible staff over in Philly that we do not have in the Chargers organization. But if I'm drafting a team from scratch, I am taking Herbert over Jalen Hurts.
So you're telling me that you think the tush push involves more people than just Jalen Hurts?
Some might say that. Some might make that argument.
Next one, and I think I know your answer on this one. No, maybe not. Herbert or CJ Stroud?
I would take Herbert. I'd take Herbert over CJ Stroud here.
I would too. There's nothing wrong with CJ. It's just that you have a preference there, and that one I do agree with you on. How about Herbert or Goff?
You know what? Like, if they were both the same age, I'd probably take Goff. If I'm looking at starting a franchise, I want to have a Herbert with the extra years under that I could get out of a Herbert. But you can't ignore the fact that Goff has managed to be elite in two different situations. The fact that he was an extra, here you go, in the Matthew Stafford trade, yes, and he was able to be elite in a situation where he wasn't supposed to be is something that I don't think gets talked about enough. So pound for pound, I'll go Goff. But if we were talking, if they were the same age, 100% Goff every single time right here. But because Herbert is younger, that to me is really enticing to get it some extra years out of a quarterback. But right now, I can't deny it. I got to go Goff.
That's a very good perspective to put in there. I'm agreeing with Goff there too, just because he has, well, for one, what you just said, he was sent there to die, whether they want to admit it or not. He was sent there to die. He was thrown to the wolves, and he ended up being a building block in one of the greatest rebuilds that we've gotten to witness in so long of time. But I didn't really think about the perspective thing of the age and comparison as to what they would be now and going forward. I'm going to have to take Goff overall too, but I do think that going forward, the same age, it would be almost as big of an argument as it is now in a way too, because it's all about what are you going to get out of both? How about Herbert or Baker?
I'll tell you this. I adore Baker Mayfield. I think the dude's a dog. I think that is a guy that is maybe a perfect piece for a franchise that's looking for a lightning bolt. However, if I want somebody that's going to be a consistent player for me for the next 5 to 10 years, I like Herbert more. But if I'm a struggling franchise and I'm like, I need a spark right now, Baker is an awesome addition. I'm going to go Herbert, but I love Baker Mayfield.
That's one that I don't think there really is a wrong answer on. Baker's always going to have his fair share of critics, and so does Justin Herbert. And I know that people will take this and they'll be like, well, you're saying, if I say I'd take him over someone that I wouldn't take Herbert over, people are going to get this mixed up. But if we're talking just this year, going into this year, I had to pick one of the two, I would take Baker right now. Okay. The guy just went out there on fire. But
he was balling.
Yeah. And if they came up to me right now and they're like, sign a 5-year contract, one of the two, I'm going to go with Herbert there. Because, there again, it's the year thing on it. But Baker, he has one of the greatest stories, I think, that have been written. He wasn't exactly thrown to Carolina to die, but he was kicked off of Cleveland, and he had really no reason to be. And I think that they're paying the price for it still. So kind of sweet revenge for him. How about Herbert or Dak?
I'd take Herbert. I've never been a huge fan of Dak Prescott. I think the Cowboys, if they had a more talented quarterback, may have been an elite, maybe dynasty in the NFC. And I really think that Dak has been a limiting factor for them. I'm going to take Herbert pretty confidently. Honestly, I'd take Herbert.
Herbert's the correct answer there, but I don't put as much on Dak as some people do expect. Not saying you're wrong or anything, but I don't put that kind of pressure on him though, because blame, I should say, because that guy, he has probably one of the biggest arms, and not nearly distance is what I'm talking about, but just the ability to throw the ball. 50 times in a game if he has to. And that one year he was on pace to throw. He got hurt right away, but he was on pace for almost 6,000 yards. And I just don't think it's fair for a guy, especially like that 1 year too. He comes out, I'm not going to throw 10 picks, and the world ate him up for it. He didn't throw 10 picks. I think that he's a pretty safe. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in NFL history. And like I said, I would take Herbert, but I do think Dak is very, very wildly underrated and underappreciated. So that's
No,
just
fair enough.
my stance on him. And the final one here, Herbert or Jaden Daniels?
Look, oh man, people forget. People are like, Jaden Daniels had the greatest rookie season of all time. Numerically, Justin Herbert's rookie season was better. He just didn't get to an NFC championship game, right? So, well, we only have the 1 year from Jaden Daniels, and it was an elite year, and he demonstrated that he can win. I can go band for band, numbers for numbers, and compare the rookie seasons, but he's done something that Justin Herbert was not able to do in his rookie season or ever so far. If I'm a GM and this is all the info I have to go off of, I'd go Jaden Daniels. Let's not forget, though, the sophomore slump is a real thing. Ask CJ Stroud. I think it might be easier to have this conversation 2 or 3 years down the line. But if I just have the evidence in front of me, how can you not take Jaden Daniels?
You guys and your sophomore slumps. I hope that I hope he wins the MVP this year. I want to take the biggest victory lap.
That'd be sick.
No, I mean, I'm going to take him there too. And I think just not only on the success he did as a rookie, how far he went, but I think that his running is an aspect that can't be, really overlooked. And I think that obviously they have a plan for their running room, but I think part of the reason that they were so comfortable with getting rid of Brian Robinson is because they know they have a quarterback, especially when you're at, the line there, who can get in. So I think that's a very, well, it's not underlooked. It's well talked about, but it's a very catastrophic part of his game that needs to be taken into account. But long story short, I agree with you on that, other than the sophomore slump. So last thing we got here, just a couple questions. And normally I have fans ask question, but it was kind of last minute here, so I didn't really tweet out anything. So I just came up with 3 quick ones. We have the first is you have to attend it in person, but you can only attend one. And it's a Chargers playoff game or a Royal Rumble. And by the way, you cannot watch the other one.
Okay. Removing the fact that I cover wrestling for a living and I would have to pick the Royal Rumble, but if I'm just a fan, I think I would go to a Chargers playoff game. Yeah.
Okay,
I'd go to the Chargers playoff game.
I respect that. It's very close for me because I talk about this in the aspect of sports. In general, I think the Royal Rumble is the most exciting event of the year.
It's so cool. But here's the thing too, like at the end of the day, like I'm always going to be more passionate, like deeply passionate about my sports team over what is a fictional program in WWE. Like so many people are like, Santi, what would you want? John Cena to win one more world title or a Charger Super Bowl? What do you think, bro? Of course I would want a Charger Super Bowl over John Cena being fictionally booked to win a fake fighting championship. Of course I'm taking the Chargers. I'm always going to be way more passionate about that, even if people don't expect it, because I make content about wrestling.
No, and that's I think that's great that because that's kind of like me, I have I would say wrestling is one of them, but interest, it's good to have passions and interests outside of your main thing. And it's, I think, extremely cool to see that you have such a passion for sports. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I would 9 out of 10 times I'm going to go to the playoff game, but I'm not going to lie. If it was windy and like below 20 in Buffalo, that's fine. That's cool. I'll just,
I mean, that's part of the experience, bro. That's part of the experience.
I ain't doing that. I was there in the top row in like 20-degree weather and I was dying. Like,
that's brutal.
No, but otherwise I will be there. If it's a Super Bowl, I'll tough anything out. Okay.
Of course, dude. In a Super Bowl, like we could be in a world apocalyptic, like zombie apocalypse. If the Chargers are in the Super Bowl, I'm risking getting bitten. I'm going.
Yeah, no, it's certain things you can't pass up, and that is one of them. Kind of like SummerSlam in Minnesota next year. You gonna go to that?
That's the plan right now. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be there too. Make some content down there maybe.
Yeah.
Chargers win a Super Bowl, and by the way, these are one or the other. So either they will not win a ring, which I think I know the answer now, or you get to be the green shirt guy.
Oh no, Chargers winning the Super Bowl.
You don't want to get front row to any event?
Listen, I've been to enough wrestling shows and I've been in front row in a handful of them to know that the experience will always be better at home. I think WWE is designed to have the commentary behind it, to add to the storytelling. As much as I do enjoy going to wrestling shows live in person, I'm never mad about having to watch them at home because I know I'm getting a great experience. But Chargers Super Bowl, literally 1,000,000% of the time.
I love that because for one, the reason I don't go to more wrestling events is just because of how much I despise being there. I don't like going in, out of the stadium. I don't like having to deal with a really unorganized family that is always conveniently sitting right behind me. It's like, is it worth the trip half the time? But it's like football too. I don't think football is better in person. I really don't. I feel like I don't ever know what's going on as much. So I almost prefer to watch that from TV as well. I'm going to take the Super Bowl, and probably for the same reason you are, because we're both just desperate. We need a ring. Yeah. We need a championship. But like, it's hard to pass up the fact that thinking like, 50 years from now, I'm just going to every WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe the answer would be different if I was like a Chiefs or Patriots fan, right?
Oh,
like
okay.
it might be different, but it is that drought. It is the desperation. Let's just call it what it is. The desperation for a Super Bowl that's driving this answer.
Okay, I'm going to add one more in before the last one. Would you rather win a Super Bowl, or I just did a Tony Chimmel there, superstar. Win a Super Bowl, Chargers do, or you get to sign a contract with WWE. You're getting $5 million a year, and they're going to book you like Roman Reigns.
Oh, well, dude, it's crazy because the answer is obviously like you got to take the 5 mil and get booked like Roman Reigns and become a megastar. But the fact that I even have to think about it shows you the desperation that I have for a Super Bowl for the Chargers. I'll give me the WWE contract, but like the fact that it wasn't an instant answer demonstrates how pathetic it has been being a Chargers fan.
And then the last question I got here is, you're in a bar fight. It's a 3-on-3, and whoever you're fighting is just random people. But you get one wrestler and one NFL player to back you up.
One wrestler to back me up here. Not the most popular guy right now, but how can you deny wanting Brock Lesnar around you? Like if he's on your side, like that's a guy like, okay, if there's a big ass fight, if he's on the other side, you just instantly say, okay, we lost, right? We're done. We're right. I've always made the joke, like if aliens invade like our planet and they say, bring out your best of your best of humanity to fight against our best, we send out Lesnar.
I mean, he is going to establish right away. If they go fuck him up, we're done. We're done. Like if they fuck up Lesnar, it's like, all right, we're getting conquered as a humanity here. So yeah, I'm taking Lesnar. NFL, dude, you could go so many ways. I almost want to go just because of the wrestling side of things. Former NFL player AJ Francis, formerly WWE Top Dollar, just to give you to have both. Top Dollar was in the NFL.
Played for the Redskins, man.
Commanders. I didn't even know that.
That's true. Yeah. Well, no, he played when it was the Redskins. That's why I said Redskins. But yes, you're right. Oh no, I'll take the canceling. It's all right. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay, so current NFL player, man. Part of me wants to go an offensive lineman, pure protection. Lesnar's the offense. Offensive lineman protects me from everything that's going on here. You know what? I'm going to go past NFL player. I'm going to go with a Lawrence Taylor. He's got the experience of being in the main event of a WrestleMania, which is an insane fact that he main evented a WrestleMania. Yes. An absolute dog on the field. I'll take a Lawrence Taylor. I'm going with the past here.
Okay. I'm not going to go with the past. My NFL, I'm telling you right now, bar fight, I'm taking your coach. I'm taking Jim. He would have my back passionately over anybody else. I know it because he goes to war for his guys. Now, when it comes to wrestling, it's odd because, I wanted to say like Lesnar, but I got to be different. I think like McIntyre would be great. I think Gunther would be great. But I weirdly enough, I think Jade Cargill would fucking
that's a great one.
Some people.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
So I'd probably have Jade and Jim, and we'd just go and beat ass, man.
Hell yeah, I like that, man.
Well, anyway, that's all we had for today. Santi, again, I just want to thank you for taking time out and being here. And anybody, if you haven't heard of him, go and check him out. He covers pretty much every week. You cover every wrestling show almost, don't you?
Yeah, there's not if it's WWE related, I'm making a video on it. So yeah, if you like WWE. There's a good chance you're already subbed to the channel, but if you're not, go check it out.
And are you going to oil up or no?
No, not yet.